Good morning, guys. Oh, what a night. It's been raining since 2 a.m. I woke up, heavy rain on the tent, and it did not stop until about half an hour ago. And it is 9:56 a.m. That was a lot of rain. So, slow start to this morning. All the rivers are up, so I couldn't go anywhere. But finally, the rain has stopped. So, welcome back to another episode Out There Doing It with JE Wilds, brought to you by your local hunting and fishing store. Now, if you're new to the channel, we are deep in the wilderness and we're in search of an absolute giant of a deer. We've seen a lot of deer leading up to this point. It is the rut. The animals are fighting. They're beating up trees, they're going crazy. So it's the most exciting time of the year, that's for sure. We've already missed that morning feeding activity time frame due to that heavy rain this morning, but not to worry, we've got some cool plans for later on. And yeah, if you're new to the channel, I'll show you around just quickly. This is my camp. I've got my MSR tent here. This is the big Huntec fly that I'm using to shelter myself from the rain and storms. Using this as a cooking area, communal area, but my camp is nestled away in this forest edge right here. You can see a big valley, river valley running up next to camp, but we're tucked away, so nothing can see us up in here. I have been seeing deer out on this river valley. We're a long way from anywhere. We're in here solo, and we've got a good time frame ahead of us. With the goal, I'm finding an absolute monster of a deer. One of these days, I think we're going to see a nice animal from camp. We can see a long way down there. I think it's just a matter of time. I mean, from our vantage point, which I'll take you to later on, up the top of this hill, I've actually seen deer, a lot of deer up here. Don't move, don't move. Keep going, keep going. Paradise ducks. Deer hunter's worst nightmare. They fly around squawking and alert everything that you're around. If you watched the last episode, you would have noticed that we found a roaring stag. I never got a glimpse of that stag, but he was roaring pretty well. Saw a lot of deer, including a couple of younger stags, but the one that was roaring eluded us that night. So our goal is to get eyes on that stag. It is still early in the rut, so the ones that are roaring, the ones that are vocal, are generally older age class animals, the ones that we're looking for. So our goal is to find that animal, and hopefully we can find him tonight, because I really want to get eyes on him. He sounded really aggressive and dominant, and that's exactly the sort of stag we want. Alright guys, it's midday and I have a plan, a very good plan. Let me get this off first. Still pretty early in the day, so I'll be very surprised if I saw something at the moment. So what I want to do this evening, guys, is we've got a good wind for this ridge out behind you. This is our vantage point. You might have seen this on the first episode. This is a very, very good vantage point. I want to be sitting on this vantage point just before dark. So we're going to take the roaring horn, we're going to take cameras, and we're going to head down this ridge, and we're going to roar every 50 to 100 meters, just roaring in the valleys either side. And if we can get a big stag to answer from his bed this afternoon, we're going in there, man. And it's some very good terrain. There's heaps of deer trails, heaps of deer sign. We are going to leave a bit of gear here. First and obvious one is these darn sandflies. First and obvious one is a spotting scope. We're not going to need that where we're going. Big tripod. Oh man, I don't know if my pack's ever been this light. That's good, man. That's a good change. You see I cinched it down, so it's more streamlined, apart from this big ass pouch hanging off the side, but the pack itself's more streamlined, so that's what we're going to need to get through this jungle. Look at that, we've got fresh deer poo, so that's from a hind. You can tell by the shape of it, so it's pretty fresh. Nice little spot for her to bed down. This is a cool spot. Before we go any further, I'm going to put my buff on, put my gloves on, and get that roaring horn out. And the marks on this tree. Something's been beating it up. There's stag poo right here. I think this is a pretty good spot to sit down and let out the first call. Let's go. My old trusty roaring horn. I always remember my granddad every time I use it.
Pretty special, man. I think we made this when I was 10 or 12 years old. Something like that. Crazy, eh? Such a special thing to still have. Right, just a quick check of the wind. It's good. It's good. Okay, we've got a bit of cover in front of us. The rifle's in my pack, but it only takes a few seconds to get it out. So if we hear one reply, if it's close enough, I'll get the rifle out straight away. Here we go. I think we'll keep moving. Go another 50 or 100 metres that way, find another good spot. Real nice in here. There's deer sign, so it's just a matter of time before we get into earshot of one. Look at this hidden lake back up in here. Imagine roaring a stag down onto the edge of this. Oh wow. That's epic. More deer sign around this lake edge too, look at that. A stag poo. Amazing, man. No responses though. I think we'll keep going. Pretty quiet. Beautiful bush though. Real nice ridge dropping down here. Good spot for deer to hang out up here. But she's pretty quiet, man. That's alright. We'll see some deer from the lookout, no doubt. Hopefully, I'd say by the time we get to the lookout, deer will be moving through those clearings. So hopefully we can see a big stag roaring and fighting and all sorts down there. Oh, made it back. Oh. Alright, time to get comfortable, see what's out moving. Already spotted a deer. I can already see one. Looks like a hind. Oh man, it's such a nice evening. As the prime time sets in, I've got a feeling we're going to see a lot of deer come out, especially after that really wet night last night. What do we got over there? Oh yep, there's some hinds. Some hinds there. And a stag. Stag coming out, look. Young stag with him. He's going to lose those hinds over the next few days sometime. As soon as a big stag turns up when one of those hinds is in season, he may get himself into trouble. Oh, very cool. So the reason I want to come and sit here tonight, guys, is the big stag, well, the stag that was roaring that we actually never got a look at last night. I can see the clearing that those roars were coming from. I can see that from here. So we couldn't quite see it from our little sniper spot on the bush edge, but we can see it pretty good from here, looking from above down on top of it. So if that stag comes out, I've got the spotting scope with me, so in theory we'll be able to get a good look at him from a safe distance where he's not going to spook and wind us. It is 6:27, so we've got quite a bit of time until the prime time, and there's already a pile of deer coming out of the bush line. You guys know well enough, those big old stags generally wait till the prime time before they step out, so when they do, we're going to be ready, that's for sure. Got a couple of little morsels to keep me busy. So yeah guys, okay, literally after doing that talk I've spotted a stag. He's in the video right now, he's just lifted his head. I think we'll get the spotter on him, have a look, but that is the clearing that the roaring was coming from. How crazy is that? The first deer I see after doing that talk. Leupold SX4 Pro Guide. Unfortunately, you guys are going to have to come off that tripod because we need to put the spotting scope on your legs. Okay, I've given him a good looking at. He's looks like a 7-pointer. Still pretty young, like a 3-year-old. Definitely not a old mature rutted up stag. He's hanging with those hinds, but he's not actually showing any rutting behaviour. Definitely not the dominant stag from last night, so we'll keep watching. But just remember that stag didn't come out roaring last night until just before dark. Super high chance it'll do the same tonight. I can't see these guys over here anymore, that young stag and those hinds. They've fed their way just out of my view. But so far, it's been a good evening. I mean, it's still super early. So I'm very excited to see what else will come out later on. You never know, man. If we have a big dominant stag turn up down here with these ones, that's shootable. I can shoot from here, or if I need to get closer, just drop down to the river and just sneak over to that patch of trees and I'll be half the distance. Definitely huntable if there's something on this side. More hinds coming out. You can still see that stag. Oh man. Just remember guys, everything I'm wearing, and I have been wearing on this trip, part of the new Huntec Expedition range. So everything you see I'm wearing, jumpers, gloves, gaiters, pants, jackets, wet weather pants, all the stuff. Go down to your nearest hunting and fishing store and inquire about the Huntec Expedition range. It means a huge amount to me to see all you guys hunting in it. So on Instagram, make sure you tag me in it. J Wilds, I'd be super keen to see you guys wearing the Expedition range clothing. So we've got another young stag coming out with some hinds. You're looking at him there. And another one. Oh, that stag there. That stag is the same stag from last night. So this guy right here, you know, you'll remember him from the last episode. So that clearing that those deer are on is the far side of the clearing we were sitting on last night in the last episode. So around there somewhere is where the one was roaring from last night that we couldn't quite see. Oh, we're getting there, guys. We're getting there. We're getting closer to prime time. What is the time? Let me just check my watch. It is 7:24, so we're coming into the real good time now. Two more young stags. Man, there's a lot of young stags around. Looking at something down there. Oh, look at that, look at that. See that? Something has chased them out of there. Can't quite see what it was. It's just behind those trees there. That is a good sign, man. That is a real good sign. That could be our big stag. Hopefully it works its way into an opening where we can see it. That is a real good sign. Something did not like those two young stags on that clearing. Sent them running. I think I just caught the end of it with the video. Alright, I've got some news, guys. Just before dark, I saw a whole pile of deer just running through a clearing. They come running around the corner. I was like, what the heck's chasing them? I jumped on a spotting scope just in time to see a big stag. The big stag we were trying to find. He ran through, chased them, stopped on the top of a mound, put his antlers back, roared twice. I quickly ran over to the camera, but by then he had gone. So I got the camera ready and eventually snapped a quick piece of video of him chasing his hinds back past again. So you can see his hinds take off and then here he comes through. Very hard to say on that video, but through the spotting scope, he looked like a very respectable stag. Something I definitely want to get a closer look at, that's for sure. So I'm pretty excited, man, to be honest. Very excited. We're going to get up nice and early tomorrow and we're going to go and see if we can get eyes on him again. And I think the game plan is going to be tomorrow evening, be sitting on that clearing or just on the edge of that clearing waiting for him to come out. I don't quite know how we're going to do that yet because as you know there's a whole lot of deer we're going to have to get through to get there, but if we want to get in on that stag we need to get to that end of the clearing because that seems to be where he's hanging out, man. Yeah, and he looks like a good one. Proper rutting stag, roaring hard too, so that's us tomorrow, man. We're going to find him. So I'm going to cook some dinner. What am I having tonight? Wilderness stew from Real Meals. I have some rice as well. I'm feeling pretty tired to be honest, but yeah, I'm going to get a good sleep tonight and we'll catch you guys nice and early tomorrow. Good morning, guys. Nice and early. There's actually a bit of a frost this morning. It's quite cold. Oh, there's a deer. I knew it. I knew I'd see a deer up here at some point from camp. Look at that. That's awesome. Pretty cool to see some deer from camp. Oh, it's very early. It's quite cold. We ended up seeing the tops of antlers, so we're going to creep up to this little high point here. Alright, we're sitting in that little patch of trees. I'm just scanning through that tall toy, long grasses and stuff. I'm hiding in the trees. I'm pretty concealed where we are. There he is. Nice young stag, eh? And here couple hundred metres from camp. How cool is that? Oh, another one. There's two of them. That one's a little bit bigger. Looks like they're making their way to bed down or something. They're on a bit of a mission. They're listening ahead. I wonder if they're looking for hinds. Interesting they're together though. Awesome. That's very cool. Let's see what comes out up here instead. Oh, that's exciting. That's a good way to start the morning.
So as the morning crept on, no more deer appeared into view. I decided to spend that last of that nice morning light up on the vantage point. The sun was heating up the ground, causing steam to rise, which made for some pretty nice views. Once I got to the vantage point, it didn't take me long to spot a couple of hinds moving their way through the river flats below.
Yeah, those hinds are just feeding their way into that bush edge there. Do you know what's exciting? I can see where we're going to be going this evening. Tonight's plan, see that tree there, the tall green tree? We're going to try and aim for that tree there. Around that area is where I want to be sitting, and then it's looking directly onto the clearing the big stag's been roaring in.
So this plan was a bold move, as it would mean I had to ninja my way through a lot of these deer groups we've been keeping an eye on. What I didn't realise at the time was that this decision would lead me straight into the event that would shape this entire hunt. A big surprise, man, but a surprise I was more than happy to walk into. All I needed to do right now is to wait out the heat of the day before making my move.
So the sun's come out, it's real nice. I've got things drying in all sorts of places. And but the best thing is I've actually put my solar panel set up. So as you know, I'm here in the wilderness for a long time. And to charge all my cameras and things like that, I need a lot of battery power. So check this out. This is a 100 watt BioLite solar panel, and I've got that hooked up to my BioLite base charge, which right now is charging 2 of the BioLite 80 power banks. So when the sun's out, I'm maximizing that sun power, and I'm keeping my base charge fully charged. You can see there we've got 29, 30. That right there is the watts that the solar panel is putting into the power station, and that there is the usage charging those 2 power banks. So you can see the big battery's full on the BioLite base charge, which is really good. I want to keep it full as much as I possibly can. So every time I'm back at camp and there's a nice bit of sunshine, out comes the solar panel, man. And that is how I'm charging all my electronic camera gear, all the stuff like that for this adventure, to keep the videos coming for you guys. If I don't have a good power supply, I can't make these videos. I've been using the BioLite range for I think 4 years now. It has worked well for me over the past. If you're looking for some portable power banks, a big base charge for base camp, solar panel setup, go and have a look at your BioLite range down at your local hunting and fishing store. Man, glassing while wearing this bug net works surprisingly well.
I may look like a dork wearing this bug net, but I can tell you what, it was the only thing keeping me sane with all these sandflies around. So the last thing to do before it was time to make our move was to cook a quick bite to eat.
And then we're out there. I need 250 meals. Do not pour this on yourself, Joe. We've got a sandfly flew in there, classic. Oh, got him. Right. Leave that 10 minutes. Listen to those bellbirds. They're eating all these little berries off this tree here. Little blue coloured berries. Yeah, quickly eat lunch, guys, and then I'm going to pack and we're going to head out hunting. Do you want to know something funny? A couple of times over the last couple of days, I've tried to eat through this. Just fully forgot that I've got it on. Boonk. Every time I think, what the heck, you blooming idiot. Right, we'll brave the sandflies just quickly. Couldn't pick a nicer spot to have lunch though, man. Right behind me. Wow, like 2 meters from me. That wind's rushing down the mountain, boy. Alright, we're making the move. It's just after midday. We're going to get onto the main river and we're going to test the wind as we go. And if that wind, which I think it is, already flowing down the valley, if it's going down the valley, then we can get into position early, which is the dream scenario. So Right now the wind's going this way, so when we get out to the main flow, if it's doing the same thing, we're going, man. We're going to go get set up in our sniper spot for the evening. So we've got a little bit of ground to cover, but I want to try and do that in the heat of the day right now when there's no animals out in the open feeding. We've got a few rivers to cross. I've got a spare pair of boots on my back because I don't plan to be sitting there in wet boots tonight because it's going to get freezing. So let's go, man. This is exciting. I'm very excited about this. We've just got to be very careful with how we make our way up that valley. That's good. I can see that tall tree, the one that we're aiming for. All this grass and toy and makes it difficult to see anything. Even if there was a deer on there, I don't know if I'd see it from here. But that's a good thing because we can stay low and sneak on through. Right, got a big river crossing just up here, and then we're going. Hopefully this isn't too deep. More deer tracks, like. Smells of stag. I think he's been smashing this flax up. Stinks of stag right here. I'm gonna change my boots, get my dry boots on, leave the other boots here next to this tree and flax bush for the way back. Very excited about tonight, guys. Let's just hope that big stag turns up. If you haven't ever used sock liners before, I highly recommend trying them. These are Bridgedale ones. So you wear a sock liner against your skin and a sock over top of it. Transfers moisture away from your feet a lot better. Prevents blisters. Keeps your little toes warm. I'd recommend checking them out, eh? Oh, just remember, we set out some trail cameras early on in the first episode from this series. So we've still got to check those cameras. Waiting for the right time to do that though. And that's going to be exciting. Okay, gate is on and here we're going. Right, I'm just going to quickly mark the spot on Gaia, just saving it as a waypoint so we can find it tonight if we need to, in the dark. That wind is a little temperamental, it's swirling a bit, so I've decided to be safe and wait for those thermals to switch. And the funny thing is, I'm actually lying in stag wee. It stinks of stag right here. I'm doing a bit of natural scent masking. I know it sounds bad, but it could help me out tonight. The wind is the most important thing in any hunt. You can fool their eyes, you can fool their ears, but you cannot fool their nose. Always wait for the wind to be right before going where you want to be going. Spend the time, wait for the thermal switches, and use it in your favour. And that is this episode's field tip brought to you by your local hunting and fishing. The sun has now gone down behind the mountain. When the sun disappears and the whole valley gets cast in shadow, the sunlight isn't warming up the thermals, making them rise. So we're going to have a drop of thermals. We're going to have a rush of air coming down the valley. Our big old stag's out this way. We've finally got some good wind. Look at that. That way. We've got to go that way. It is now time to get out of these sandflies and start stalking up the valley to get into position to our sniper spot. Get up to these trees up here and have a good look around just to make sure we're not going to spook anything on the way. Try and get through to those next trees over there. We just want to be careful of ducks, paradise ducks, and of course deer. But the biggest thing that could give us away is ducks, believe it or not. So hopefully from there we can actually lock onto that clearing where the big old stag is crawling. Okay, got a couple of deer. I can just see their backs, maybe 100 metres or so straight ahead of me. So I think we're only going to be able to make it to those trees there. And hopefully that's far enough to be able to see where the big old stag comes out. I think it will be. It's not my first choice, but there's deer just here. I'll put an arrow where the deer are, and if we can make it to those trees, I think we're on. I'll see what it's like here on the way through, but there's a couple of paradise ducks out on the main river, so very risky going on that side too far. But we're doing it, man, we're making it. I've just dropped down into this creek. I was out this side, but there's this nice little creek. We're going to follow this as far as it'll take us. There's 2 paradise ducks about 150 metres out this way on the other main river. We can't go up there, otherwise they'll alert the whole neighbourhood. Just got to watch those deer. They were just out there in front to the left somewhere. I think we're in a good position. I can see the clearing the big stag was on last night. So we'll get set up here. There's deer in amongst these trees out here. So remember, he came out just before dark last night. It'll probably be the same tonight. We're really close. Really close. Oh my goodness. They've come around behind me 45 metres. They're right there. There's another one coming up, just up there. They just caught my wind, literally round behind me at the moment. I'm surprised it took them that long to smell me. You see the fawn? The fawn's not too sure. The spiker didn't know. I'm not gonna lie, I'm quite happy that she got my wind and quietly took them all away. So that was out behind us, when we actually want to be focusing that way, because that way is where the big stag was last night. Okay, now we can finish. Setting up finally. We'll get the rifle out. Get it all ready. 300 Winchester Magnum, because I know I'll get comments. There's that tall tree there. That's the one we were trying to aim for. The stag was right down the end of that clearing last night. It's a long way from here. I reckon we'll try to get up to that next block of bush just there. It means we've got to cross this river. But I think we'll do it now, since those deer have just moved out of here. Across that open creek bed. Now to get up into these trees. More crawling. Ducks. Ducks are looking for a place to land and roost for the night. Here they come. Oh no. They're just flying up and down, trying to find a spot to roost. They haven't seen me. They're squawking. It'll be interesting to see if any of these deer are taking notice of that. Here they come. Here they come again. They might have seen me that time. You heard their squawks change tone. Had That is not good. We'll get to these trees the first chance we get. Hear that? He's roaring. I can hear him. We might get looking in a second. He's roaring really well. There he is. We're gonna have to move real quick. You might be wondering why I didn't pull the trigger on that stag. He was literally under 50 metres from me. I had the crosshairs on him, don't you worry. Had the crosshairs cleanly on him. So some of you might have noticed there was 2 stags there. This stag here's the first one that we got eyes on. So that's the one that we first heard roaring. He basically knows exactly where I am, but I'm deep enough so he can't see me. He's got a weak top on it. It's quite a short beam. Honestly, still a nice stag, and I should be stoked with that. So this stag, he heads across the clearing, runs over to where the hinds were, but have a look at this stag. Did you notice it was a different stag? So he's just on a mission. Big stag, big even stag, nice tops, good looking animal. So all of a sudden we've got 2 big stags in this vicinity, both roaring. I mean, what do you do, man? It's like he's there, the rifle's on him, the crosshairs are on his chest, ready to go. The camera was rolling. It just didn't feel right. I just couldn't pull the trigger, man, to be honest. I just could not do it. He's not the big stag that I saw, that I'm now after. I packed up all my stuff super quietly. He's still roaring, they're both still roaring, and I snuck out of there, and they were still roaring the whole way out, man. So very exciting. Now there's a big stag I'm trying to get. For a wild, free range, public land, wilderness stag, that thing is a beast. And guess what? We're going back tomorrow. Okay, with the giant now entering the scene, the hunter's now focusing on learning exactly what we need to do to become successful with the stag. I start putting the pieces of the puzzle together. The journey really starts now. And don't forget, all the gear I use on my hunts, guys, can be found down at your local hunting and fishing store. From clothing to packs to tents, all the stuff you see me hunting with. Head into your local hunting and fishing store and tell them you saw it on JB Wilds. Alright, and with that, we'll catch you guys on the next episode.